So they were set up in 2012. I actually started work on them in 2010 and wrote the remit with a lot of other people, right? So the ones that you've got, I think there's about 32 LEPs across UK currently, right? So I knew the guts of the whole issue and how it was being implemented and how our community. So why go to the LEP? Because the LEPs actually implement your industrial policies, and in the industrial policy there are sectors. So if food and drink wasn't there, my industry was going to be devastated. Right, so I made sure that the food and drinks industry was there. Education, deprivation, and health in deprived areas was there. And then obviously, from there, in 2000, I was only supposed to do 2 years. In 2012, I was going to come off. Sharon approached me and said, Amjad, you resigned from everything, we're setting this yaba up, and would you do it? I said, look, I'm not interested in localism, I'm interested in globalism. That's my new forte, right? Because it's a global village with the new technology, with everything. So I came president of Yaba for 6 months, but for some reasons I resigned after 6 months. But as soon as my 2 years came up, Roger Marsh, obviously was still the chair, came, he called me and said, Amjad, we want you to stay on. And I said, look, if I stay on, then you've got to give me what I want. I just don't want to do any. And he says, what is it that you want? I says, I want to be part of how you teach entrepreneurialism to primary schools, secondary schools, universities, and how you link industry, right, and create the industrial policy so you have the entrepreneur. He says, you know what? That is exactly what Lord Young wants. So I worked on that. I was chair of that for 2 years. And currently your industrial policy that is being implemented across UK, I can say with the heart on my hand, I had a little bit to do with that, right? And then obviously Lord Kamlesh Patel came to Bradford.
Yes.
We've known each other for 20 years, a really good friend of mine. And he said, Amjad, we need you to come on board at the Bradford Teaching Hospitals and NHS. I said, Kamlesh, do you really want me to come on board? He said, Amjad, we need people who can speak their mind, and we're in a mess at the moment in terms of business processes, customer, patient-centric stuff. So I went there, I stayed there for 5 years. I actually resigned from it in February 1999 because obviously I became chair of Jumpstart Pakistan, which is a global movement in 30 countries. And there again, not a lot of people would know that the most deprived areas in Bradford and district, where more money should be spent per patient, do you know it? Oh, the opposite is true. But who challenges that? We've got, how many councillors have we got?
And obviously with COVID, it's become even more apparent, hasn't it?
But, Lord, Fatima, people say that to me.
Yeah.
You know, the number of reports that have been done into Bradford since 2001 when we had the problems in terms of inequality. We had Ousley report, we had the vision, right, then all that kind of stuff. You know, when people come to me, right, people who are supposed to be learned and experienced, haven't we got problems? We've just done this report. Well, don't you read your history? Don't you? Nobody's briefed you what's happened, right, since the 80s, right? So fundamentally, the problem has got worse and worse. I think the problem with Bradford has been is so if you look at the executive, it might have changed now. So I'm not saying anything about the current. I'm just historically I'm saying to you, right, with the city that's supposed to be the youngest, and diverse diverse you would have thought that the executive that implements policies, you would have seen the diversity. In up till probably 2 years ago, when I had the data, there was nobody from diverse community. Selina Ola got in once into the executive as a health, and after 6 months she was kind of manoeuvred out of it, right? And I've had discussions, with the leadership at Asian Youth Movement. Here to stay, here to fight. We abandoned the word fight because it was too provocative and too radical. And we said, here to fight, here to build. And I think if we've moved 10 steps forward, what I'm saying to the people, the fathers and mothers of Bradford, people who have the power, right, is how many steps have you moved backwards instead of moving forward? You may remember the concept that we brought, which was the World Mile, which would start from city centre, it would go up to Regal, and then that was just where diverse communities would present their offer of goods and services. It'd become an international market, and the little park on the corner of Lum Lane would become a city of festivals. So you would have Diwali, and then the mosque would become a centre where people would park their car. We would have rickshaws, tangas, little Dubai we wanted to create. But you know what, for some people it was too Asian, because the people who make the policies then, right, in Wibsey and in Saltaire and in Bingley, couldn't be seen backing that, because if they did, they'd be voted out.
So is that why World Mile disappeared, ATL disappeared?
No, I'll tell you
or were
what,
there other reasons?
And this is interesting.
Yeah.
So do you know I was one of the founder members of Bradford Regeneration Company that had...
No, I didn't know that.
I was one of the founder members of it. So I was a director for it right till the end. And one of the key pillars of its policies were what we called neighbourhood renewal regeneration plans. So there was a regeneration plan for Manningham, regeneration plan for all the... And what it did was, because our businesses are not going to move into city centre, let's be honest.
Yeah.
They tried the level best to get them in. Nobody's going to leave that, right? So we at ATL said to them, "Oh, you're just being mad, right? Create the heart in the middle, but then create the connectivity and the marketing. So like Manchester, you have the Curry Mile, which is Great Orton Road. You have Leeds Road, which is boutique, shoes, etc. Right? Then you have jewellery and wedding and flowers somewhere else. Right? You have these different areas where people can, it's almost like a mosaic where you could actually visit. And lo and behold, the current industrial policy is now saying increase the space like City Park, right? Have more families coming in and have these different clusters. This is 20 years ago, right? But guess what happened? Chris Hopkins, who was then the leader of the council, I mean, you know his attitude towards, right? And he wanted Keighley, right, to be completely separate. And what happened, that the budgets that were allocated for these neighbourhood renewals, they were taken and given to Keighley, and the Ring Road and all that were built right from that, and we ended up not having anything. So all the money was spent in your kind of leafy suburbs, and we ended up where we are. I think, on a positive note, I don't want to be doom and gloom. Like when I started, I said, hope is something that must always go with. I still believe in Bradford. I still believe in the youth of Bradford. I still believe in some of the leadership of Bradford. But I think one thing that has to change fundamentally, the public needs to get wiser. And when we vote people in, we need to hold them to account. I don't care. If it's Naz Shah, if it's Imran, whoever, they're real personal friends of mine. They're very good friends of mine. But you know what? When you go become a leader, right? So a lot of people say to me, you're very critical of Imran Khan and you've been, working with him for 15, 20 years. I said, you know what? Imran Khan, the friend, is different. Imran Khan, the leader, is somebody...
For those normal people watching, he means Imran Khan, the Prime Minister of Pakistan. He's obviously talking, because obviously for everybody else, he's not as accessible to you as normal people like me. So just on reference.
So fundamentally, irrespective of what your relationship is with that person, all right, when it comes to country building, community building, and delivering economic prosperity, you've got to be brutal. This is the key reason why we are to blame. We as people are to blame. Oh, yara, kujni theek hai.
Yeah.
That's baloney.
Yeah.
Right.
So going back to the question that I asked, World Mile, ATL, these were specifically set up for the South Asian community. You look around today,
For all the communities. So we are, so all the communities. The
Well,
Polish,
World Mile,
But the biggest
but Asian
community is
Trades
Asian.
League, yeah.
It was going to be called Asian Mile.
Yeah.
But some people in power said no, it's got to be Golden Mile or World Mile.
Yeah.
We said fine, we'll go with World Mile.
Yeah.
But then they pulled all the.
So what's available for communities now if they need support and help? Specifically, the people refer to them as the BAME community, but the ethnic minorities, who do they go to now? There's nothing available.
I'm not sure about nothing available, but I think the institutions that once used to be there that were like KTL, I mean, there used to be Baba here before us, which Nema Singh, and they had, and you had informal links where people. I think one thing that's missing, what my generation had. Like Haji Musaddiq, Haji Nazir, all those people, we were very close. We had a lot of disagreements. So in a room, we would fight like cats and dogs.
Yeah.
But when we went out, we were united on whatever we had decided. I think that's the bit that's probably missing in the younger generation. There's too much of me. Maybe I'm getting...
The unity,
Right? So I think maybe we need to work on that at the moment. So there's a lot of actually opportunities right now, but there's a lot of threats. I mean, the problem is, look, a lot of people don't read. Currently, the biggest threat that you're going to have is, if you read McKinsey's and Bloomberg's, just go to, yahoo.com or wherever, right? They're predicting by middle of 2021, half of the SMEs in Europe will go bankrupt. Because when the furlough schemes come off, people have borrowed money, right? People are absolutely scared of their jobs. They don't know whether they're going to have the jobs or not. So people are not going to be spending enough money. So demand is not going to be as rampant as before. So half of the SMEs are going to go to the wall, right? But some of the companies need to go to the wall, who I call are the lame ducks. Right, who don't pay their suppliers, who just borrow money, right, and just subsist. They're not efficient firms. They need to go. Right, so there's going to be a revolution in new startups. But where? Do we need to be more tea shops? Certainly not. In my opinion, certainly not.
Yeah.
We need to be in precision engineering, we need to be in IoT, we need to be e-commerce, right? So people who are doctors and lawyers and accountants, in the next 10 years, your jobs are going to be redundant. Artificial intelligence and machine learning is going to take that over. So you need to get into those industries, right, that are going to be growing. Where do you need to go? You need to go to the LEPs, right? The LEPs should be helping you. We've got Amir and Kamran, I think, are right from the. Is it?
That's right. Yeah.
They're our members, right? Knock on their door. If not, just ring the LEP up, right? But if you're going to say that I want to open another tea shop, the probability is that that segment might not be. You asked me earlier, right? So I don't know whether Amir and the rest of the people have fought for those sectors, right? I don't know. So you need to ask them. Right, so I think there's a lot of opportunities, right? Because a lot of businesses are going to go under, and there are people like me still about. So although I'm very accessible, I'm always doing seminars and stuff like that. Bradford University is a probably good place to go to. Go to Bradford Council. I think they have a business support, but they've only got 1 or 2 people there. In my opinion, they should have 20 people there. Right, that's where they need to be focusing. But let's see what's in the new economic kind of.
In the new reports, Well, you say you're still available, but we've all heard about your big project in Pakistan. You're now doing a lot of work with Jumpstart. Tell us a little bit more about that, and what made you want to decide to almost abandon ship here and take on such a big international project?
Okay, there's a lot of misconceptions about me jumping ship. So let me put that right. So, number one, probably 99% of my investment is made in Europe and particularly in UK. My children are here, and they're not likely to go to Pakistan. Right? My grandchildren are here. My father's here. God bless her. My mother's buried in Scolmore. Right, so this city and this country has given me and my family what we have. right? But we've equally, I think, given what we can back to society. So my identity and my belonging has not changed. But you rightly asked the question, why did I pivot? Our parents came here because there were no opportunities. And I said to you that I'm a researcher and I read a lot. Unfortunately, since the war on terror, we've been focused on war on terror, whereas Asia has been focusing on enterprise and growing their economies and growing their industries. So we parked our Rolls Royce in 2001. Beautiful economic engine Rolls Royce. We came back in 2008 when the recession hit, global recession hit, and when we lifted the boot, the engine of the Rolls Royce had gone to the East and Asia, and in it was a Minis engine. So unfortunately, the political, economic power is now moved, whether you like it or not. It's not me saying it, everybody agrees. It's moved there. My identity is that of a Pakistani, British citizen. I'm equally proud of being British, but I'm equally proud of being Pakistani, right? And right this moment in time, I'm prepared to give my time to Pakistan because economically, here is a mature economy. So if I make an investment here, the probability is that there's going to be a lot of competition and the return on capital is going to be less. So purely from a business perspective, I'm making maybe 4, 5, maybe 10 times more. Yes, there are, difficulties and challenges, right? But, with higher return, you've got to take higher risks. But I think the key thing that made me switch slightly, because of the image problem that Pakistan has, right? I don't care what I do, I'm going to face that problem on my journey on self-actualization. So my team and our global network and those people who want to put that right, we believe that is not the job of the government alone. And I don't think the government can do it. I think we as individuals have the responsibility to put that right. Now that was a big ask, but like you said to me with Seafresh, when did you say? We have a vision which says we will build the ecosystem of enterprise for Pakistan. So in effect, take the economic and industrial policy of Pakistan government, and we as an organization, inshallah, will deliver it with their help. But if they don't want to give it, we'll do it on our own. And that's what we're doing. We have chapters across 30 countries. We're working with 50 universities in Pakistan. We're in 20 cities. And that will benefit UK because those companies will, because of our, so I'm talking to the Department of International Trade, we're forging links, I'm talking to Bradford University, all the other universities, I'm talking to innovation centres there, right, to create employment. And we're trying to set up this business organisation again, right, with great difficulty. Yeah, but that's life again. So I'm not abandoning anything. Opportunities there. And I feel it's my duty that we put the image of Pakistan right. Because Pakistan geographically is the most, strategically placed country on planet Earth. From Alexander the Great to currently now China, right? They know that if they want to get into strategic markets in Asia, in Russia, in Middle East, we are in the center. That's number one. Right? We are bestowed right, the most abundant natural resources on planet Earth. We have 8 seasons. We grow crops 4 times a year. Unbelievable. We can grow anything. I'm growing pineapple, passion fruit, pistachios, olives, you name it. I'm growing in, artichokes, all this kind of stuff. Stuff that's never been grown in Pakistan. Right? So the abundance of natural resources, the weather system is there, the geographical location is there. 60% of our population of 207 million is under the age of 30, so youth.
Young, fantastic. Yeah.
And we have 9 million overseas Pakistanis in the most lucrative markets in the world, and their businesses are thriving. You know what we've got to do? And people look at me when I speak to them, we've got to do one thing: pick the best from Pakistan. Make sure that the quality of those products and services is brilliant. It's consistent like McDonald's. Yeah. So even though it's crap, it's consistently crap. Yeah.
I like the analogy.
Yeah. But if you want to go for the cheap end,
Yeah.
middle end, and top end,
Yeah.
make sure the consistent. So the value chain has to be perfect
Yeah.
and consistent.
Yeah.
Guess what? In the first 5 years, we're going to talk to overseas Pakistani companies and say, listen, do you want a piece of the action? And who's going to say no? Because they want to be part of the stakeholder and transformation.
course.
I don't need the government. And they know it. And in fact, they're saying, thank God there's somebody who says, right, we don't need the government. Because you know what government does, Fatima? They come in and they see an industry growing. They'll put red tape around it and tax you. So I say, listen, you guys just stay in your, institutions, write the policies, and let us get on with this.
Yeah.
Right? So the less government there is, the better it is for me. And it seems to be working. It
Yeah.
seems to be working. Yeah.
No, it sounds really exciting. It sounds amazing, actually. And it sounds like the right step for you. But, what gives you the energy to keep going? Because I'm being honest, if at your age, I'd probably think, yeah, I've done everything now. I've got a successful multi-million-pound business. It's all over the world. I've had an opportunity to sit on several boards, impart my knowledge, be part of the decision-making process. I've now got a doctorate from the university as well as from the college. I think the college gave you one earlier as well. The number of awards you've probably got in your cabinet is probably full. You've achieved almost everything, and you've got your grandkids now as well. But you're still so passionate, so committed, so dedicated. It's like what you were saying earlier. It's the dedication and the grit. You still got it, and you're still doing it, and you still don't want to slow down.
Actually,
what's the reason? What
I'm not,
Yeah.
I don't want to be big-headed in any sense of the word. Yeah, you
Yeah.
know me. I'm
No.
very direct.
Yeah.
One of the key reasons why I absolutely enjoy what I'm doing is I love interacting with young people. They don't say yes, sir. They challenge you. Papa, you don't know what you're talking about. I love that kind of attitude. So the Sarji culture in Pakistan and India, I hate it.
Yeah.
So my first thing is to change that.
Yeah.
I want them, the natural curiosity, and say, no, I'm right, you're wrong.
Yeah.
Right? From there, you learn a lot. So currently, I'm doing about 15 courses, right, on different things.
It's amazing. 15.
15 courses. So I wake up about 4:30 in the morning, right? I'll read namaz, I go for a run, come back, I'll make breakfast for grandkids. So what really chuffed me, one of my grandkids at school, the topic was write something about a famous person, and guess what? They chose me.
How incredible. That's so sweet.
So that kind of gives me a pleasure.
Yeah.
That I'm passing that energy, that enthusiasm, that I think that attitude that nothing is impossible. And if I'm being honest and frank, I'm grateful to my Creator that at the age of 62, honestly, I feel that I have more energy than I did when I was probably a lot younger.
Yeah.
Because then there was a lot of stress on building businesses and stuff like that. I don't have any of that. I just can focus on empowering young people and doing what I like. But what I want to do, if we've got time, very briefly, is to actually now, hopefully, with a lot of people, is rebuild Bradford. We've got to do it. I think the time is right. We've got the right leadership who's listening. With the new economic policy that we've got, I've read it. It makes sense. What we now need is the politicians to get out of the way. Get out of the way. Don't even come near it. Give it to the private sector.
Yeah.
Yeah, and let it rip. I think post Brexit, with all the communities that we've got in Bradford, I think we've got 26 or 27 communities. Just imagine all those communities respecting their difference and diversity and saying, use that difference, right? Go back to your connections to India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Turkey, Romania, Czechoslovakia, Poland. Talk to the companies, do some joint ventures, bring those companies on M6 or so to produce those goods here and let's disseminate them across the globe. I think we can do it. I think we're in the right moment, but we need some brave people. And I think we've got brave people.
Yeah.
Right. We just need the politicians just to get out of the way.
Yeah.
Right.
You mentioned post-Brexit, obviously, and with your wealth of knowledge, experience, and the fact that you have been trading globally for a long time, there is a lot of fear with Brexit looming. It's happening, obviously. We can't...
It's happened.
It's happened, obviously, yes. And now, obviously, there is still that fear of, okay, we've left. Things are going to get worse. We're still in COVID as well. You know, what kind of... You've read the economic policy, I haven't. So you're saying this is now the right time to build Bradford. A lot of people wouldn't see it that way. There's all this negative, obviously, with all the Brexit rumours, with the fact that COVID has impacted heavily on businesses, destroyed livelihoods. What would you say?
Okay, there's a lot of people
Yeah.
who don't know this, and I'm going to admit on camera. I voted Leave and I campaigned for Leave. And the reason was nothing to do with immigration. It was nothing to do with politics and taking back power, because that's baloney, right? I actually voted because I felt that our entrepreneurial capital, the businesses, were getting lazy. We were just getting too comfortable, right, with trading with the European Union, right? Our brand, the British brand, is actually strongest in those countries that were empire countries, the Commonwealth. We were too lazy, right? And hence, if you look at our manufacturing capacity, it's gone down.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you look at our services, they're going down. So in this Brexit negotiations that we've had, the settlement that our economy now is run on financial services. Everything is financialized. That wasn't even part of the deal. So there's a big punch coming any minute, right? That's going to blow a big, right, worrying people's. So there's a massive disruption coming soon. Why I say it's good for us. It will get rid, this COVID, this recession, this uncertainty gets rid of the rubbish. The uneconomical, the inefficient companies, right? It will bring a new breed of entrepreneurs, and it will leave those companies who are super efficient. It will take about 5 years. So we've got another 5 years pain. I said to you right at the beginning, economic policy and building nations and building cities and building communities is not a short-term policy. You've got to have the vision and you've got to have the strategy. In this new economic policy, we've got the vision, we've got the strategy. Now we need the doers.
Yeah.
Right? The rubbish ones, the inefficient ones are going to go.
Yeah.
Right. Now, the key bit here, and if we get this wrong, we've had it. We've got the emerging startups that are coming up. We've got to direct and advise them to go into areas of future growth. The green economy. It's going to precision engineering, right? It's going to be technology-driven, right, stuff that needs to happen. Where are the problems of the world? Don't look at Bradford. If you're going to set up a company, make sure that it's a $1 billion or $1 trillion market that you're going. So environmental change is going to be massive. So if you look at India, if you look at China, if you look at all these countries, right, infrastructure, sewage, water, sanitation, health, education is going to be a massive industry. Right? Aquaculture, seafood farming is going to have a bonanza. Right? We're going to move away from intensive farming to organic farming. If you've got a bit of money, right, buy 200 acres of land and go into organic farming. You will be a multi-millionaire, I guarantee you soon. Right? And then biotechnology, where you bring in biopharmacy and biotechnology and artificial intelligence are going to be the future. Right? I am not interested, and I'm saying that with such anger, I'm not interested in hospitality anymore. Because we've got enough of it, for God's sake. It is saturated the market. The council has got to put his foot down and say, no more planning. We've got to move our young people. And how are you going to do that? You're going to have road shows. You're going to, like we used to have ATL. Seminar. Every week we used to have 4, 5, 6 seminars where you used to have ministers coming in, right, in that ATL building and said, right, we had hundreds of people, right? you've got to do evangelism for enterprise. Yeah, so if you can do it for your deen and if you can do it for Jehovah's Witness, I say become a Jehovah's Witness in entrepreneurialism, and we will have the money, we will have the wealth, and we will have the happiness, right? But
you've got to see this tough time through. Is that what you're saying? Of
the
the
tough time has
transition.
been here since 2008 when we had that recession is still going on.
Yeah.
Look, for God's sake, you need to get out of this mindset, right? That forever is going to be a doomsday. Look, I had COVID, and believe me, the 3 peak days, I thought, that's it. I'm going to go and meet my creator. But, you've just got to fight, right? And you've got to, project yourself in future.
Yes.
Not with a brush that hides the ugliness.
Not with the filters.
Exactly.
As they would say in today's world.
Yes. Okay.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure.
It's been my pleasure.
Thank you.